Hey, what's up guys? Nils here and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about one of the probably worst passives in the game that people just not really be using, and actually this passive has been kinda whack ever since it was released, and that is the Sorcerer passive. So if I scroll over here to the index, you see here we start over with Sorcerer 1 at 5.4%. So what Sorcerer does is basically, for the most part, reduce the amount of attacks for your unit to cast out his ultimate. Now, Sorcerer 1 increases your damage, or rather reduces the hit for your ultimate trigger by 1, and that is pretty much all it does. It doesn't do anything else. Moving on to Sorcerer 2, we actually have a 1.1 damage multiplier, so there is like a very small damage boost, and then it is a 2 hits less to charge up their ultimate. And Sorcerer 3, which is the rarest legendary passive, ironically, gives you a 0.2% multiplier damage increase, and the fighter takes 4 less attacks to activate. Now, these passives by themselves, they're all really bad. Like, people have asked me, and you should know if you don't already know, even if you get this, just reroll it instantly. It's bad and it's not good. Now, there is one scenario where I've talked about this actually many times before on stream, where Sorcerer can unironically be good. Now, unfortunately, because I have illusioned all of my units to Shellys, I cannot showcase the problem to you, but I guess I can go ahead and talk you through real quick. So let's say that I have these two units, right? So these two units are both Golden Kings in reality, right? They have 6 to 7 attacks to charge up their ultimate. Wait, not this one, so this one. So now the difference between those two units is essentially that one of those is gonna have Ghostly on, right? And one of them doesn't. So what necessarily means is that in reality, while this guy takes 6 hits to charge up his ultimate, in terms of time, seconds, this one would cast out his ultimate in about 4 hits-ish time due to the fact of his increased attack speed, right? Now, if you have a team like mine, which I have previously talked about, which is an issue for me, so I have, on one of my Flaming Heroes, I have a God, so he's a 3-hit unit, and then I have those two Ghostlies, so what I ended up being forced to do was to ult cancel on those two Ghostlies that would essentially cast right after this God unit. Now, that brings us sort of into problems like 1, 2, 3 units that I have here. These units never get to cast their ultimate off, so you kind of have to decide whether you want to cancel off early on your ultimate and just rely on those 3 units, or you want to let those units be sitting AFK while the rest of your team casts their ultimate. Now, this might sound completely troll, but in a scenario like this, and this is the only and only case that this can happen, if I had a Sorcerer 3 here, this guy would be synced with pretty much the rest of my fast units, and that would pretty much be a DPS increase. While it doesn't show up on paper, it would actually turn out as DPS increase because this unit would cast out his ultimate. Now, ultimates are a big part of the damage. I don't know exactly how much, but they are a big part of your damage output. More so as a limitless unit, having a 120% chance multiplier on damage, it just makes the ultimates very strong. Now, unfortunately, the passive does not see play, as I said before, and I was thinking, what can we do to sort of buff this Sorcerer? Which, by the way, if you guys remember, when Sorcerer was introduced all the way back in Lucky Kingdom, it was the update that brought max opens to the game. Sorcerer 3 was actually a mythical passive, and then it was changed down to a legendary because it turned out performing really bad. So I was thinking to myself, what would happen if we actually saw a complete rework on Sorcerer? Like, I guess you can leave the less hits to activate an ultimate there, but change out the second part, like the second component, and actually give it an ultimate damage multiplier. Now, this wouldn't be strong in terms of like tooltip and DPC. Like, you would never see the strength of the unit here, but with the proper tuning, this passive could easily become one of the best passives into the game, like something like an Ace tier, which is the best mythical passive in the game by far. and I could really see something like this becoming OP, and it would be pretty fun to kind of change the meta of the passives. Now, in the past, I have suggested a lot of stuff, and if you watch this video, I finally understand that you don't really want to change things, and honestly, kind of agree with you. Why change things when they work and make them complicated? Because it is truly a double-edged sword. But I think that a change like this on this passive could end up being really, really, really good, and it would be kind of spicing up the game. Like, Sorcerer would be good, more so ever since like the direction of the game has changed, like with max average DPS and like trying to make people see past DPC, because people have been blind and been like chasing DPC for so long that it's kind of dumb. But more so now with the DPS test on the dummy, it kind of like forces people to think different, like see value in stuff like Ghostly, Ace, etc. So having a passive that actually increases the ultimate damage would be really, really cool in my opinion. Now, I don't know how much the values would be, because I don't really know like the actual weighted damage that ultimates does, like how much percentage of the damage of a unit comes from DPC, how much comes from auto attacks, and how much from ultimate. I don't know that, so that's something that I guess the devs know, and they could balance it accordingly. But I think it would be really nice to see a rework on Sorcerer, because it's a passive that really never saw play. Like even from day one, it was completely bad. Like people kept Sorcerer 3 for a little bit, because I think Julius back then had a 9-hit ultimate count or something. So some people kept Sorcerer 3 on Julius back then. But besides that, really the passive has been dead since day one, and it would be pretty damn cool if we saw a mythical version of Sorcerer 3 that increased your ultimate damage by a lot. I think a lot of people would like that, and perhaps we will get to see that. Now, besides that, I don't know what else you could do. I think it would be kind of dumb to like make Sorcerer increase your unit damage and your ultimate damage. So I think keeping it just like this, like reduced ultimate attack and increased ultimate damage, I think that would make more sense. I don't know, maybe if you guys have some suggestions on how you would like to see the passive, you can let me know in the comments. But to me, it makes the most sense, and I think it will be pretty cool to see a change on the passive. As I said, the passive has been dead for far too long, and people just like flat out completely ignore it. Like it's not even near a tank or a giant level in terms of damage output, which is kind of sad considering it's like, look at this, guys. So giant is 1.6 and tank is 2%, while this thing is almost 3.5 times rarer, and it's just worse. So I think it's time to see a rework on Sorcerer. Hopefully Dareb watches this video and considers it. But anyway, guys, as always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to click the like and subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys all on the next one. Take care.